So I know we're not a sitcom, but we decided that we're gonna have cold opens at the beginning of this show to start
Mhm.
it off. So start practicing your stand-up material. Um, knock knock.
Who's there?
Our intro music.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Break Check. This week we'll be going over our livery rankings. So we'll be talking about whose we loved, whose we didn't care for much, and we'll be going over some new news and a fun little word that's been floating around the F1 conversation lately.
And if you guys are not yet, make sure you please subscribe on YouTube so you can interact with everyone, discuss what we talk about, give us your opinions, what you agree with, what you disagree with. We greatly appreciate it. And, as a channel that's trying to grow, it's definitely any interaction is the easiest way to do that for us. But yeah, let's get into it. Like you said, we're going to be going over liveries and stuff like that. But first, I feel like we kind of have to talk about the elephant in the room. Unless you've been living under a rock the last couple days, Russia invaded Ukraine recently and have been pushing towards the capital city of Kiev. You might be asking, if you're not familiar with F1, why does this matter with Formula One? There's a couple different consequences. There's a Russian Grand Prix, which has just been announced, has been canceled. Haas, one of the teams on the grid, was primarily backed by a Russian sponsor, and one of the drivers is of Russian descent. His father is the primary financer for the team, and he's kind of the reason that he has a seat in F1. Do you want to just get started? What you think the biggest kind of fallout's going to be? What you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they did remove the brand from the car and the testing. I hope that that kind of stays going into the season. I think it's important for now that hopefully that they remove them totally from sponsorship, that Formula One or another sponsor comes in to be their title sponsor, whether Formula One's helping them out financially just to ensure that the team is covered and that jobs are covered. And then in terms of the Mazepin, I mean, it's hard because you don't want to see someone lose their seat because of something that is not entirely in their control. But at the same time, he is a paid driver and he has a seat because of his father's company. And if his father's company is no longer sponsoring Haas, I really don't see the benefit in keeping Mazepin, given that his performance has been not worthy really of a Formula One seat, in my opinion.
He's a nepotism baby.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be great to see Pietro come into the seat as well. I know that he's the probably runner-up for that position if they were to remove Mazepin from the team. So it would be kind of cool to have a Brazilian driver on the grid. Just see, have someone new, because we only have Zoe that's new this year.
Yeah, definitely. And I just wanted to make sure I said, I do not think that Mazepin should lose his seat because he's Russian.
Right. Right.
And it's kind of like a sentiment just with this whole thing is like the Russian people are not to blame here. However, his dad is close with Putin.
Tight.
Yeah, they're tight. He like when Putin got sanctioned by the US and the EU, like his dad was meeting with him to discuss these sanctions. I think I read somewhere that they've both kind of come out in support of him in the past. So I think, he should not be kind of targeted just because he's Russian. I think there's extenuating circumstances that kind of have led people to be like, hey, should this guy be in the sport right now, given everything going on? And then obviously there's the Russian Grand Prix, which was just announced that it was canceled. I know, Megan, you said, and I agree, how they kind of worded it to hey, if this gets resolved, maybe we can still have it. But
Yeah.
I read that multiple F1 sources told ESPN it's just not going on no matter what.
Mm-hmm. I think enough teams and enough drivers are against it to where they really can't. I think it was just interesting, the communications that they posted. I work in this field with marketing, communications, PR, all of that. So I just noticed that the way that they worded it, it could have been read a certain way where it was, maybe, if things change, if they back off, we'll reconsider it. But I think it should just be a no-go entirely this year.
Yeah, I know they haven't refunded tickets because I know the Russian organizers are hoping the race
Mhm.
can still go on, but I just don't feel like there's any way that it does. Like they're gonna have like 4 drivers that are willing to go probably, and 2 of them
Right.
are gonna be Haas drivers. So yeah, and it's also interesting. I know it's a race that kind of Putin struck a deal with like a former F1 boss, and like he was
Mhm.
like handing out trophies for the podium finishers a couple years ago. So I definitely think the optics of having that race could be tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, uh, definitely interested to see where everything goes from here.
Mhm.
Not anything that's in Haas's control, not really anything that's in Formula One's control. Kind of a crappy situation, but definitely I do hope to see Formula One kind of support Haas through this, back them financially if they
Mhm.
need. There's really nothing they could have done to avoid this. And I think they did the right thing by getting ahead of
Mhm.
anything, because I know Haas said that the US government did not contact them about their
Right.
sponsorship or anything like that. This is something that just kind of done on their own accord. If it's a call that Gunther made, if you've watched Drive to Survive, he seems like a great guy. So I think he's always going to try and stay ahead
Mhm.
of doing the right things and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious what'll happen with their sponsorship. I know Andretti has reached out to Haas numerous amounts of times, and Haas kind of refuses, which is honestly, I'm kind of okay with that because I know Andretti's looking already to get into Formula One by 2024 and have their own team. So it'll be really exciting to eventually have them and have another American team on the grid. So excited for that, but I'm curious to see who will come in, and I'm interested to see what race replaces the Russian Grand Prix. I know the Turkish Grand Prix is in conversation. It would be cool to see one of the Germany tracks on there. So we'll see. I'm excited though. And I know that we just went through the first weekend of testing, which we will be doing a full episode about that shortly within the coming weeks once we finish the second testing in Bahrain. But Juan, did you have any thoughts on how the first weekend went?
yeah, just I know we kind of talked about this off camera. Ferrari looks strong. And I do think it's funny that after all the talk about this team looks strong, this driver looks fast, Lewis Hamilton was skiing in a mountain the next day, came, dropped the fastest lap time out of everyone. So, maybe things won't change too much.
George Russell also came in like right behind him. So not surprising. Things kind of feel normal on the track, which is nice. I was excited to see Daniel, of course, in that top 10 for times. That was exciting for me as a fan. Uh, but yeah, it'll be cool to see, how they take on some of the challenges that they're facing and use the data that they gathered. For anyone that's new to Formula One and doesn't necessarily know what the testing is all about or why it's important, it's basically 2 weekends spread out before the season starts where teams are able to gather data with the new car, see how it feels, drive it around, see if there's any issues noticeable that they want to fix before the races start. And the drivers can kind of give feedback too on how they're feeling in the car. And it's just a way for them to make sure that they have the best car that's ready to go when the season starts. So it's great for the teams to kind of get back out too. They're able to get used to being in a Formula One car because they had just been out of it for a few months during the off season. So yeah, it's definitely beneficial for the teams, but this one wasn't obviously broadcasted for us, and then the Bahrain one will be able to watch while it's happening, which will be really cool to see.
Yeah, and like we said, we'll talk more once the
Mhm.
Bahrain testing session goes. The drivers push the cars a little bit harder in the Bahrain sessions as well, because they've had a little bit of time to get familiar with them.
Now, real quick before we get into the library rankings, I want to talk about the word of the week. And yes, I'm calling it word of the week because it is a word that was used all throughout last week and I hadn't heard until testing happened last week, and that is the word porpoising. Now, porpoising was coined by Andretti years ago, and it is a term derived from the motion of a porpoise in the water. And a porpoise is essentially a dolphin, and you know how a dolphin swims up and down. It's essentially the car doing that. The reason this is happening now is because the cars are now allowed to use the underside of their car to generate a downforce from that ground force, where the lowered surface helps the car suck to the asphalt quicker and have a better grip. And that better grip can help the car go faster. But the issue with that is the suspension can feel a tight, like a high immense of pressure, and cause the car to go too close to the ground or touch the ground. And when it does that, all of that downforce is lost, and that stall then raises the car back up because there's no downforce anymore. And then when the car raises, then there's air able to flow again, and then the downforce is able to generate again, and then it goes back down. And this usually happens when you either hit a bump or kind of at the end of a long straight before you brake. So there's just a lot of opportunity for that to happen. A lot of the teams think that they'll be able to solve it pretty quickly. So maybe within the first few races, maybe even before the season starts. I know Ferrari has already kind of solved it. They've raised their seat a little bit higher, which can impact their ability to get low enough and to get that better grip and make the most of it. But I know they said they fixed their suspension to adapt to it. So I guess we'll see how much it impacts, if it helps or hinders or anything. But yeah, purposing, you'll probably see it in a lot of the clips, especially on those long straights. It is fun to watch. Leclerc, there's a clip of Leclerc going down the straight, and it looks kind of aggressive. It looks like a headache. But
Yeah, no, definitely. And this is just one of those reasons that the testing is so important for the teams, because if they just jumped in and started racing and then this happened the first race, it'd be so hard to both be fixing this in the background, getting ready for races. So it's definitely not something that I knew about until, this week. But it'll be interesting to see how the different teams kind of handle fixing that, because every team is going to have a different solution, their unique take on it. But yeah, that was a good first word of the week. All right. And as of this morning, all the cars have launched their new liveries for the year. If you're listening and you're from Britain, we say livery. I know you guys say livery. Livery feels better for us, so I think we're gonna go ahead and say livery.
Livery.
Yeah, so we just kind of wanted to go through, talk about, rank the different launches, the liveries, what we like, what we don't. I know, like Megan said, she works in marketing, so I think she has some strong opinions about some of the launches. I have strong opinions about how the cars look. So we'll just we'll just go through. We'll just talk about all the cars, what we like, what we don't. Is there one you want to kick us off with?
Yeah, might as well go from bottom up. I think Haas is a lot of people's bottom. I think it's their number 10. I would agree with that. I will say I do like the all white look of it once they removed the Russian flag brand colors and all of that. I think it looks really nice. I wouldn't mind them just keeping that. They also didn't really have a launch. I was kind of confused. I woke up and went to look for the video, and instead I just found 4 photos that they posted on their Twitter and essentially called it a day. But it works. I mean, it also wasn't a car I think that needed a huge video for either. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on it.
Yeah, no, I actually did not hate the Haas like Russian themed car. Like, it was simple. It wasn't ugly, It
Yeah.
was kind of disappointing that they didn't have a launch, but I guess if you're a team with kind of a tight budget, you probably don't have YouTube production costs built into that, if you're just trying to put all your money into your car. I do, yeah, like you said, the all white kind of looks nice if they kind of just cleaned up the edges, but I don't think that'll last. With a new sponsor, you never know, maybe the car moves up kind of both of our rankings. I don't know that they were like my 10, but they were not, they were on the bottom. They were in the bottom half for me.
Yeah.
So kind of a disappointing launch, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They're going through a lot right now.
Yeah, they've got other issues.
Yeah. I think they've got other things to resolve besides how their car looks to us. What's your next one?
For 9, I put Red Bull, which a lot of people, they wouldn't put it that low.
Me. We got beef again.
So Ferrari also is one of those teams that does a very similar thing every single year. The difference, I think, is just my opinion. I like the classic Ferrari look that they do every year, and I'll talk about Ferrari later. But with Red Bull, I'm tired of it. They have so many sponsors covering their car. They don't need it. They're fine without covering their car in stickers. I think if they just did something a little bit more simplistic and something a little different with the colors, you could still do the Red Bull somewhere or put it, the colors somewhere, but incorporating more of those colors rather than just having that navy car with the some yellow nose and calling it a day. I would love to just see them do something different.
My 1 and 2 are Ferrari and Red Bull.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Ferrari, I think, has the best looking car on the grid. I don't think a lot of people will push back on that. I mean, people have their preferences, but Ferrari is one. I think it's one of the nicest looking cars. We'll get to that later.
It's iconic, yeah.
Red Bull, I think, is getting to that point where it is just an iconic look, and I never want them to change it. I do agree.
What they want.
Yeah, I do agree that they could use a little bit less sponsors on the car. They kind of look like that one dude that everyone knows that just has patchy tattoos all over his body. You know what their car looks like? You know, have you ever seen Harry Styles tattoos? How he's just got stuff everywhere
all over his chest.
That's what their car looks like, right? I will give you that, but similarly to Harry Styles is a handsome man. The tattoos work. That is a handsome looking car. The sponsorships, it doesn't take away from it. So I like the navy blue. I like that it is not shiny. It's like a matte, a matte flat blue. It looks really nice. I think it's like a very powerful color. It's a powerful looking car. I think the bull on the top and the yellow nose, I think it looks good. I think it's kind of intimidating looking. I think it's one of the best looking cars on the grid. I love it. And that's even, my dad works for G Fuel. It's a rival drink company. So I can't like Red Bull too much, but that car looks really nice.
What did you have then for number 9?
Number 9, I had McLaren. All right. So I really, in our first 2 episodes, look like a McLaren hater. I do not have any beef with McLaren. I think they're a great team with great drivers. And I love Zach Brown. That's his name, right? Their team principal. CEO. I love him too. Yeah, he's cool. When it comes to just like how the cars look, I'm a very simple man. I like as simple as possible. I don't like a lot of stuff going on. And I don't like highlighter orange. Like, I'm not talking, this is not like Halloween. This is not even bright orange. This is like big highlighter, glow in the dark, luminescent orange. And I just really don't like it.
Yeah, a lot of people, it's either you love it or you hate it. A lot of people hate the color. What I personally don't like on it is how black the bottom is, and then you have this like random blue stripe kind of like striking through the middle, and then the highlighter orange. I love that blue. That shade of blue is beautiful, and I want all of their merch in that blue. But I don't like, it's like that 3-color combo. Their suits are also my least favorite. I think they just look dirty. It's like a weird faded black, like you threw it in the wash one too many times black. And yeah.
Do you want to know why you want all their merch to be that blue? Because no one would ever wear that hideous orange color out in public. Are you kidding me? It does not belong. It doesn't belong on clothes. It doesn't belong on a car. It belongs in my annotations. Like a traffic cone. Yeah, it belongs on traffic cones. There you go. And even the traffic cone orange is more tasteful than the McLaren orange. I'm telling you, I did not like that car look. However, I will say their launch was of the better ones. That's one of the ones.
I think it was one of the, not like one of the best, not one of the worst, but it was so long.
It was. They put a lot of production into it, I guess, is what I mean. Like,
it was, they had time to kill is what it looked like.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. That's what I meant. I mean, I guess when we're going from Haas to McLaren, you're on the opposite ends of the spectrum with the launches. I wish the car was blue with orange kind of stripes, or just even traffic cone orange would be better than what they've got going on. But that was my 9.
I will say their color scheme looks better on the Extreme E car and like all their other car launches that they did.
Yes.
It looks better on those cars, but the fact that it looks like they just copied and pasted it onto every car and didn't change that much. And it was a little weird. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And actually we didn't talk about my number 10. I hate the Mercedes car.
Yeah.
I do not like it. Like I said, obviously Mercedes is probably my favorite team. I really like Lewis. What more can you say? Like I said, I like simple cars.
Mhm.
I don't like repeating patterns and stuff like that. I don't like the color silver on cars. This is another thing we kind of talked about yesterday, is like it just kind of is just nothing like super special looking about it.
Yeah.
And I don't like the little Mercedes logos on the back, you know.
Yeah.
Uh I think they could have done better. I think last year's car was better looking. I wish they would
It
do.
looked
I think they're fast enough. They just got to commit to just being like the meanest looking car on the track. They just got to do
right.
the.
They
They got to
have
do
to
the
look
all black.
aggressive.
Yeah, they got to stick to the all black. I wish they would. I hope they do next year. But yeah,
I
it
hope
is
they
what it
bring
is.
it back. The
Yeah,
black with the blue Patronus color was my favorite combo, and I wish they had kept that
yeah, that
because
was
that was
tight.
beautiful,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
exquisite, like top, like what really was like my favorite color car last year, like the favorite livery last year. So yeah, very disappointed. They were number 6 on my, yeah, 6 on my list, but
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to go through your? Are we on 7?
um 8, I think.
8.
Oh yeah, Mercedes was 7. I can't count. Number 8 though was Alpine Blue, like their normal full year blue.
Okay.
I have their pink Alpine number 3. Their pink Alpine was beautiful. If they just kept that all year, I think it's stunning. I think the Alpine that they're doing right now, where they have kind of like pink, kind of like splattered on the sides, just it looks. I know they did it like get that sponsorship right, at the end. It wasn't a last minute thing, but it looks like a last minute detail to the car. It looks like they just painted pink on the sides just to throw it in there and then called it a day. And the pink livery looks way more thought out. It looks way more just finer. It looks pretty. It's fun. I love that there's a pink car on the grid again. I think it's funny that Ocon is in a pink car again. I feel bad for him a little bit. It's like PTSD from 2018 with Racing Point, but it happens. Yeah, the Alpine it was just boring. Not a huge fan.
And remind me, are they gonna use that pink car at
For the
certain points?
first two
Okay.
races.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they need to just go ahead and keep that. I
Mhm.
had them 7. There's worse looking cars, but
Mhm.
it doesn't really do much for me. My number 8 was Haas. I know we already kind of talked about them extensively. That's just where I had them. I know. I think my bottom half, for the most, besides for McLaren, I know some people will really like it. I think is generally pretty
Mhm.
uniform for other people. I think they could do. I think these last 4 teams we talked about could definitely do a lot better.
Oh yeah. What was your number 6 or 7?
My number 7 was Alpine.
Okay.
Number 6 was Aston Martin. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, so this is the first car that I do not like I like the car. This is the first one where I'm like, this is good. Like
Mhm.
this is a good livery. Um, I don't like the highlighter yellow on it. I think if they had a different accent color, I think I would like it a lot more. I love the green. The
Mhm.
green color they have is like a super like powerful looking. It's intimidating. I like it a lot. I like the car. I like Aston Martin as a brand a lot. So like just
Mhm.
even seeing their sponsorship on there is really cool to me. I just the highlighter yellow dropped this a little lower for me than it probably would have if it wasn't there. I think without that highlighter yellow, I think I would
Mhm.
have it pushing top 3.
Wow. Yeah. I have it number 2 because
Okay.
I I
Yeah.
love it. But I'll talk more of that when we get to the top ones.
Okay.
Number 7, I had Mercedes, which we talked through. It's boring, wish it was black. And then 6, I had McLaren. I just and to talk about their launch, they had, I mean, it was nearly it what felt like 30 to 40 minutes of Q&A, and Q&A could easily be done in 10 to 15 minutes max. So anything more than that I think is a little too much. And yeah, it seemed overhyped. It just like everyone was like, getting ready, 30 minutes and they do the car launch and it just kind of falls. And the
Yeah.
energy falls. It just is kind of awkward. So yeah, that's all I have to say about it. But sorry,
And the
McLaren.
drivers, like after all that, they're never gonna be like, oh, I hate it, you know?
Yeah, like that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely I caught some clips of it and it was definitely like they were building they were building for this whole
Mhm.
thing, and then they just showed a highlighter with tires. So
Which I have you looked at the merch for some of these teams since the launches have come out? This is the
yes,
worst round of Formula One
yes,
collection gear I have seen. I am
yeah.
not a fan.
I think so. I want to get, I want to get a couple things just to,
Yeah.
wear while we do this. I'm a fan now, just support. I think the Mercedes hats are always good. The Lewis Hamilton,
Mhm.
just kind of hats. I'm gonna get,
Classic.
yeah. I'm gonna get a white one. Um, the Ferrari hats are cool. They're Italian
Yeah.
themed. I was looking at the Ferrari site,
Mhm.
and their shirts are some of the worst. Like, I
Yeah.
would be caught dead wearing those. How is a brand like Ferrari gonna have such ugly merchandise?
It is appalling. And also, I have beef not only with Ferrari, but just a lot of the teams in general. Their female branded items are like polos or like these like weird cut, awkward scoop neck, like fitted tops. If I wanted just a normal t-shirt or a hoodie, I have to get the men's sizing. And
Yeah,
even a small makes me look like I'm in a like whole gown. It is so absurd. I have so much beef with that. But anywho, yeah, those suits that Ferrari's wearing, McDonald's. It's giving me fast food. It is giving me hi, welcome to, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I definitely noticed that a lot of the women's like clothing is just it's the men's clothing, but just with the weirdest shape you have
Mm-hmm.
ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
They could definitely use some work on that
Yeah.
front. Um,
Yeah.
I will say I think the Mercedes merch is very nice. It's not different
Mm-hmm.
than last year, I think, or the last couple years, but I do
Yeah.
like their shirts with like the red, white, and blue like collars and like sleeves, and I think they look very nice. I also think their clothing sponsor is like Polo
Mm-hmm.
Ralph Lauren, so I think that might have something to do with it. Where
Helps.
Puma is putting together Ferrari stuff, So,
Yeah.
no, yeah, definitely. I know what you're talking about. So we're on number 5 now. Who did you have?
Mm-hmm. So this one I keep going back and forth on because initially I loved the Williams launch and I love the Williams car. I do like that detail of red. It's different than what Alpine did when they added the pink, where it just looks a little bit more thought out. And I know that they had a whole reason for the red. It's like the British, whatever. You have Albon back, but I like it. I know some people really hate the red, similar to how they hate the highlighter color in Aston Martin. So it's that similar thing where it's just a little detail, but I really enjoy it. But then the Alfa Romero came out today, and even though I think they waited way too long, it's not that special, but it is a it is. I do really like it. I think it is one of my favorite cars right now in the grid, just looks wise. I think it's funny that it looks so similar to what Antonio Giovinazzi is driving right now in Formula E, because it is literally the same color scheme on the car,
Mhm.
almost to a T. But I think those are kind of like my 4 and 5.
Yeah, 5 I had AlphaTauri. It's just a
Hmm.
worse version of the Red Bull. There's not really much to add. The car is always going to look similar to the Red Bull car, I think.
Hmm.
Uh, um, I think it looks cool. I think the colors are a little
Yeah.
more subdued than the Red Bull car, but that was my 5. My 4 was Williams. I actually really like the Williams car. I
Yeah.
think they did a good job of trying something different
Hmm.
and not thinking they had to go super over the top. I think the car looks pretty sleek. It has a lot of different shades of blue. I like the red. It's
Hmm.
not as offensive as the highlighter yellow on Aston Martin. Um, I think they were able to pull off having kind of like, I know a lot of people like designs on the car. I think they were able to have like it's kind of like a argoyle checker sort of
Hmm.
deal with the different shades of blue. I like it. I don't think it's like super in your face. I really like the car. I think we talked about last episode too. I think I generally really like the direction that Williams is going with everything. I think you
Hmm.
do, you do as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing that car on the track. I really like it.
Yeah, I think it's going to look great. I
Mhm.
think it looks a lot better than last year's. It's a huge step up. So I'm excited for it. It's a team I'm excited to watch also because Albon's back. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. I think for number 3, I had AlphaTauri.
Okay.
They basically did like the Uno reverse of their colors from last year.
Yeah.
It made it more white instead of that more navy, but it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It also has less. It's doing less than the Red Bull, in my opinion, which sometimes less is more, and I like that.
It's got less tattoos.
Yeah, less tattoos. It's not giving Harry Styles. So I really like it. I thought it was classic. I will say the pink Alpine would have been number 3 if they were keeping it for the whole season, but they're not, so
Yeah.
they're, towards the bottom.
Yeah. My number 3 just changed this morning. The Alfa Romeo. It is the sexiest candy cane I've ever seen in my life. I really like it. I really think that car is it just looks incredible. I hope it runs incredible.
Right.
I like the Italian flag on the wing in the back. I like that the colors they used. I know it's just red and white, but I think they blend well. I really like the car. The launch, they waited a little too long. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone was that excited to see what the Alfa Romeo car looked like,
No.
but I was surprised. I was not expecting anything crazy special. I am glad they released it. I got tired looking at that camo car. That was the most hideous thing I've ever
Oh,
seen
I
in my
hated
life.
that. I was nervous that they were going to incorporate camo
Oh
somewhere.
my gosh, no. Yeah, that car looked like a rendering issue in a video game. Like it was just the ugliest thing
Yeah.
I've ever seen. Alfa Romeo, I really like the car. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much covered it. It looks sleek, it looks nice. It doesn't have, again, too many stickers. They didn't do anything crazy either. They know what their car wanted to look like, and they did it. And it looks really nice.
Mhm.
I think this is kind of a wild card team for this year because I really don't know what to expect. You have one historical driver, one new Formula One driver coming into a new team to be teammates together who've never driven really together or worked together. So it'll be curious to see. They're also, like obviously not at the top of the grid normally, but Bottas is a solid driver. So it'll be
Yeah.
cool to see how he does and what happens with the team.
Yeah, no, definitely. Also, they might have the biggest upgrade from last year's livery to this year's out of all the
Yeah,
teams.
I
I
agree.
think they made the biggest leap.
Yeah, very nice.
Who's your number 2?
Okay, my number 2 was Aston Martin.
Okay.
I know, so again, similar to McLaren, either you love it or hate it.
Mhm.
Same with Aston Martin. I love that color. I think I'm glad that they brought it back. I'm glad that they're adding it into the car. I just think it gives it that little oomph. I think it is very nice. I think their launch was my favorite, but it was a little weird hearing Mr. Stroll talk off of a script. He sounded like a robot. He sounded like he's never been in front of a screen in his life. And it was
Yeah.
hilarious. It was so obvious. The poor guy looked like he was sweating, like sweating like crazy, just so stressed out. He looked like it was weird, but I think the production overall was really nice and it was efficient. And that's what I liked about it in comparison to McLaren, where McLaren had this 40-minute Q&A and then finally showed us a lackluster car. And so I think Aston Martin lived up to the expectation that it was setting, and it just had like the smoothest launch. So I was really happy with it.
Maybe that's why they gave him the script, so it didn't go for 45 minutes. No,
Probably.
they definitely had the best launch. He
Mhm.
definitely sounded like us trying to record our intro for the first time.
Right.
Yeah, it's just some people
Yeah,
who have never been in front of a screen with a microphone in their hand.
yeah.
I like the car. Like I said, if it didn't have the highlighter yellow, I think it would be in my top 3. So I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think the green color is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think, we both know who the number 1 is, which is Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Did you see the photo that they posted yesterday of the backside of it, like looking forward?
No, but I will
Okay.
put that like
Oh,
right here. Actually,
okay. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'll check that out and put it up. But
It is
that car,
beautiful.
it's so
Beautiful.
nice. Yeah. And I mean it's Ferrari, you know. Have you ever
It's
looked at one of their regular cars? Like
Yeah,
you know?
right. You see it, you
um
know what it is. You know that's
mhm.
Ferrari. They
There
nailed it.
was there's a moment in one of the Drive to Survive seasons. I don't remember which one,
Okay.
but there's a quote in it where they're like, if you tell a kid to draw a car, he's going to color it red. And I think, I think that holds true. Ferrari is like the car of cars. The car looks great. The car seems very fast. I think both of us have said we're really excited for Ferrari. I know you're a little higher on Leclerc. I'm a little higher on Sainz. Either way, I think they're both going to do great this year.
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah. I don't even really know what more I can say about the car because it's just a red car, but it just looks perfect. The red they chose is not too shiny, not too matte. It's
a little bit darker. It looks so nice. I will say I was secretly hoping they would do a black car or something just completely off the rails. But I'm happy with this. I think it looks so nice on the new design too. The design itself just looks really good. So
yeah,
they're gonna have a good season.
I think if they ever win I think the next time they win a constructors, I think the next season they'll do a black car.
Ooh,
I could see that.
That would be
just
cool.
like a little bit of a statement. Yeah, I think number one, Ferrari. My number two was Red Bull. I think I said that earlier. And it's just, it's one of my favorite looking cars, at least. But yeah, that
covers it.
Yeah, that covers our Livery launch opinions, rankings. Did you have anything else you wanted to add in terms of just the launches, stuff like that?
No, I think we covered anything. If anyone listening wants to share your thoughts or opinions, if you guys agree with, what we've said, if you have different thoughts on the cars, we'd love to hear your comments. Check it out on our YouTube. We have our video here. And then we also have our Instagram and Twitter. It's Brake Check F1. Same thing for all of them. So you can easily find us. Love to hear everyone's thoughts though, because I think it's pretty controversial in everyone's opinions, given that like McLaren, some people really love it, some people hate it. I think we all agree, the Ferrari's looking nice.
Yeah, no, definitely. Everything Megan said, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. We appreciate any interaction. Make sure if check us out on YouTube is the easiest way to interact with other Formula One fans. Comment below why Megan's wrong about the Red Bull car and how it looks really sick. But yeah, I think that's about it. I don't think we've figured out our next recordings. I know, yeah, we have. We'll be back next weekend. Yeah.
We'll be back next week for more content.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you then.